Apple is one of the few companies that has repeatedly transformed the direction of the global tech industry, from personal computers to smartphones, design philosophy to user experience. Apple hasn't just released products. It has set standards that the rest of the industry often follows. And two of their most influential product lines in this journey are the Mac and the MacBook. Their impact extends far beyond just being computers. They shaped how we work, create, and interact with technology in our daily lives. To understand Apple's influence, it's important to look at the company's philosophy. Apple has always prioritized the intersection of technology and the human experience. Instead of chasing specs alone, Apple focuses on how technology feels. That approach has changed the expectations of millions of users and pressured competitors to rethink their products as well. The Mac and MacBook reflect this philosophy perfectly. Apple's impact began long before the modern MacBooks we see today. The original Macintosh, released in 1984, introduced the world to something most people had never done before: a graphical user interface and a mouse. At that time, computers were intimidating, text-only machines that required command line instructions. But the Macintosh made computing visual and intuitive. Windows, icons, menus, the ability to click and drag, all of these became core elements of the modern computing experience. Apple didn't just release a new computer, it changed the direction of personal computing forever. Another major impact Apple had on the industry was its approach to design and user experience. Before Apple, computers were bulky beige boxes with little attention to aesthetics. Apple changed that mindset entirely. The iMac brought colorful, friendly, futuristic design into homes and schools. Later, the MacBook Air introduced a new era of slim, lightweight laptops. Other companies quickly started redesigning their products to match the elegance and minimalism Apple made popular. It's normal to expect laptops to be thin, premium, and visually clean. That expectation largely came from Apple, but design was only one part of Apple's influence. The company also revolutionized hardware software integration. Instead of treating hardware and software as separate pieces, Apple designed both to work together seamlessly. Marcos was built specifically for the Mac. That meant smoother performance, better optimization, few crashes, and more consistent experience. This philosophy later influenced the entire industry, leading many companies to rethink how tightly they integrate software with their devices. When we talk about the modern era of Apple's influence, we cannot ignore the MacBook Air. When Steve Jobs dramatically pulled the original MacBook Air out of a manila envelope in 2008, it stunned the world. No one had ever seen a production laptop that thin or that refined. It set blueprint for what we now call the ultrabook category. Almost every major laptop brand, Dell, HP, Lenovo, Acer, shifted toward building ultra-portable devices. Apple didn't just make a new laptop, it redefined the entire laptop market. Another area where Apple has shaped the tech landscape is build quality. The unibody aluminum design introduced with their MacBook line became an industry benchmark. Before this, most laptops used flexible plastic casings. Apple demonstrated that premium materials, precision engineering, and durability could be part of mainstream consumer devices. Today, high-end laptops across brands use metal frames and minimalist aesthetics, again influenced by Apple's approach. But Apple's influence is not limited to design or hardware. It extends strongly into the creative industry. Macs became the standard for graphic designers, video editors, filmmakers, animators, and musicians. Software like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, and the Adobe Suite found a natural home on the Mac because Marcos was known for stability, color accuracy, and performance. This shaped an entire generation of creators who preferred Apple's ecosystem. Even now, when you work into a design studio or a media company, you are more likely to see Macs than any other machine. One of the most transformative impacts Apple has had in recent years is the introduction of Apple Silicon, the M series chips. When Apple shifted away from Intel processors and started designing its own chips, the industry was skeptical. But the performance and efficiency improvements Groundbreaking, MacBooks became faster, cooler, quieter, and far more battery efficient than most competing laptops. Many reviewers called it the biggest leap in laptop performance in decades. This move did two things. First, it proved that ARM based chips could outperform traditional x86 processors in real computers, not just phones. Second, it put enormous pressure on Intel and AMD to innovate faster. Apple forced the industry to rethink what a laptop could achieve in terms of speed and battery life. Competitors are now chasing Apple's lead in efficiency, chip integration, and thermal performance. Another major impact comes from Apple's ecosystem strategy. The seamless integration between iPhone, iPad, and Mac has changed user expectations. Features like AirDrop, handoff, universal clipboard, iCloud syncing, and a message across devices make users feel like all their devices are part of one unified system. This level of cross-device functionality pushed companies like Microsoft, Samsung, and Google to improve their own ecosystems. The idea that your laptop should work flawlessly with your phone and tablet is becoming standard. Because Apple set that standard, Apple has also influenced the industry through minimalism and removing components. Whether people like it or not, Apple's decisions shape the direction of the market. For example, removing the headphone jack on the iPhone sparked a global transition toward wireless audio. Removing DVD drives pushed the world toward streaming and digital downloads. Introducing USB-C and MagSafe affected how laptops charge and connect. Even when controversial, Apple's decisions often become industry trends a few years later. Beyond products, Apple's influence is seen in security and privacy standards. macOS is known for its sandboxing, strong encryption, and reduced vulnerability to viruses. Apple consistently markets privacy as a key value. This forced other companies to take privacy more seriously, changing how data tracking, app permissions, and cybersecurity are handled across the tech world. The Mac and MacBook also played a role in the rise of remote work and digital education. During global lockdowns, millions of students and professionals turned to MacBooks because of their reliability, long battery life, and high-quality cameras and microphones. In summary, the impact of Apple, the Mac, and the MacBook on their tech industry is massive and multi-layered. Apple changed how computers look, how they feel, how they perform, and how they integrate with our lives. The Mac introduced user-friendly computing. The MacBook redefined portability and design, and Apple Silicon set a new benchmark for performance and efficiency. Whether through innovation, design, software integration, or ecosystem strategy, Apple continues to shape the direction of the entire tech world. Apple didn't just influence the industry, it rewrote the rules. And with each new generation of Mac and MacBook, the company continues to challenge what a computer can be.